Good morning.
Good morning.
Please stand in body or spirit as we sing our gathering music, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. It's number 1008 in your teal hymnal. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Hillsborough, UUCH, or OOCH, as some of us call it, where we constantly strive to be an open and welcoming congregation to all who seek community and support. We don't worship in one specific way each week, and we don't require that we all adhere to one specific creed or common belief. Rather, we are a covenant community committed to loving and supporting each other in our individual lifelong quest for truth and meaning in matters of our personal faith. We welcome you, old friends and new. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether this is your first or your 1,000th time in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all love. Just as you are welcome here. Everyone, please turn and welcome those sitting around you with a hearty good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Jenny Kiles, and I'm the worship coordinator for today's service. As a lay-led congregation, there are many contributors, many behind the scenes who make our services possible, including Aviva, who has prepared our music. So we give a big thank you to everyone who helps make this a great place to gather, learn, and grow in spirit and love and community. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to thank our speaker for this morning, Kaleb Graves. Kaleb is the congregational mobilizer at UU Justice NC, and I will tell you more about him before his presentation. And thank you, Kaleb, for sharing with us this morning. Before we create our time for worship, I'd like to remind everyone that after the service, we enjoy coffee and tea, and we are going to have a Q&A with our speaker, Kaleb, afterwards, so please stick around for that. If you are visiting today, please consider staying so we can get to know you a little better. Also, please take a moment to look at your order of service to see the announcements on the back. Now we can take a brief moment to share any other important announcements that aren't listed in the order of service. And this is a good time for everyone to check and make sure that your phones are in worship mode.
Hi, I'm Patty, and I am the co-leader of our care team. And right now, we don't have a lot going on the care team. We have AC and Terry who need some assistance, and we have Peg Wolf who would love some visitors. I have a clipboard here. I know there are those among you who do not like computers and who do not like lots of helping hands, and particularly on the computer. So if you have an evening free during the month or a day free when you're not doing anything, if you'd like to sign up to just do a visit, prepare a meal, give a ride, you can sign up here. And if we don't have anybody set up and lots of helping hands, I might give you a call. So if you'd like to do that, that'd be grand. I'll leave it on the altar, okay? And I'll leave my care team sign up. Just your name and phone number would be grand, or email. How we prefer to be contacted.
Hi, I am Alicia. I have a few announcements. So last week I gave a sermon about ethical spending, and I would still like for you to fill out the survey about ethical spending if you have not done so yet. About 8 people last I checked had filled out the survey. I would like more of you to fill out the survey. If you didn't watch the sermon, if you were not here, you can watch it on YouTube, where you can also read the sermon. The link for that, for both of those things, is in the e-news, and the link for the survey is in the e-news. If you want a paper copy of the survey, those are on the back table where all the justice stuff is as well. And if you have any questions about it, please just ask me, and I'll be happy to help you find the survey. And that will be open until the end of this month. The next thing on my list is that August 24th, after the service, I will be hosting the Council of All Beings event, which I'm doing in coordination with the Jewish New Year of the Animals. This is an event where you will get to do an art project, make a mask or a drawing of some kind of expression of an animal of your choosing. Maybe not as fancy as Lily's mask here, but you can make some kind of representation of an animal of your choosing, and then we will embody that animal as a group and talk to the group about the perspectives that that animal has about how people are affecting the world. So that will be after the service on August 24th. That is an event for all ages. And the third announcements that I have is that in the June Cow, we decided to make a task force about revising the bylaws, and I will be coordinating that task force. And so if you are interested in serving on that task force and working on the revision of the bylaws, please come to me, and I will make sure that you're on the group. Thanks.
My name is Amy Tattersall, and I have a community bulletin, shall we say. The Orange Community Players, they've been going on for over 20 years now, I think. They are doing a performance at the Orange High School this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And their musical this time is Susicle the Musical. Did I get it? Which is a really fun thing that engages people from all ages in doing theater. So if you want to know the link to their website, see me after the service. Thank you.
Hey y'all,
Amy, program admin here. I think all the major announcements have been covered, but I just want to add that I'm going out of town. I will not be here next week. I'm going to Texas. Pray for me. I will be working, but not as much as I usually do. So just a heads up there.
Let's prepare ourselves for our time of reflection and celebration by reminding ourselves of who we are and why we gather. We are Unitarian Universalists. Unitarian Universalism draws from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. Our chalice lighter this morning is Emmett. The chalice lighting reading this morning is The Great Turning by Lisa Garcia Sampson. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the great turning, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones, and in the stillness of this hour, may we sense it calling our name.
The opening words today are from the medieval Islamic poet Rumi. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field, and I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense.
Please stand in body or spirit as we sing our opening hymn, We'll Build a Land, which is number 121 in your gray hymnal. Sharing joys and sorrows is a special ritual at our Sunday services. The ritual happens in two parts. First, we take time to share out loud, and then we make time for silent acknowledgments of concerns and sorrows, or joys or special milestones that have occurred since we last gathered. Both parts include dropping stones into the vase at the altar, symbolizing a metaphoric communal collection of our experiences. By taking time to share, we strengthen the bonds between us. First, we take time to share aloud. We do not record what is shared aloud, so for those joining online, there will be a short break while people here speak. If you are joining us online and would like to share your joys or concerns with us in the room, please put it in the chat and tell us whether you would like it read aloud, and we'll drop a stone for you. If you feel moved to speak, we invite you to take a moment to center yourself and gather your thoughts. We kindly ask that you speak from the heart and keep your words short and meaningful. We hold all these things within the heart of this community, both spoken and unspoken, by remaining silent for a moment as we consider what has been shared and how we might respond. Let us close our sharing time by saying together, Amen and blessed be. Amen and blessed be. Now I'd like to ask our RE teacher to tell us what the kids will be up to in RE today, and then we will bless our RE classes on their way by singing the words printed in the back of your gray hymnal or in your order of service.
Hi, today we're going to be talking about the UU value of transformation and making some butterfly-themed artwork.
Oh, nice. May you run me up to the may you let spring fruit into the world. May Our presentation this morning is titled Finding a Way Out by Reverend Kaleb Graves. Kaleb is the congregational mobilizer at UU Justice NC and justice coordinator at Eno River UU Fellowship. Ordained in a progressive Baptist tradition, Kaleb is also an MDiv graduate of Duke Divinity School and currently enrolled in a psychology master's program at Fayetteville State University. His academic work focuses on the intersection of political extremism, religion, and alternate states of consciousness. Welcome, Kaleb.
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? I always appreciate when whoever is introducing me gives a little bio so that people know I'm a Baptist minister and I don't have to come out about it in UU spaces. So thank you for that. You know, I was invited to speak today in part because I told my story back in February at Friday Action Hour, which we do at UU Justice NC every Friday at 11 a.m. This is the second congregation I've gotten to tell my story at, and I'll be at UU New Bern, I think sometime next month. I don't quite remember. You see, for the past year, I have been congregational mobilizer for UU Justice NC, with whom I know y'all are quite familiar. You just read Reverend Lisa Garcia-Sampson, Executive Director's words this morning. We are a statewide UU organization dedicated to creating a state that benefits everyone, not just the rich, powerful, influential, and connected. Among other victories, the UUs, just like you around our state in our network, were instrumental in expanding Medicaid to hundreds of thousands of people and preventing harassment at polling sites with our de-escalation teams during the last election. Just so you know, coming up, I was told to announce this, we are going to be putting out a free congregational and community safety program September 8th through 20th on Mondays that will help congregations around the state know how to keep themselves safe and also the partners that they participate with in their communities. I am extremely proud of the work that I do. I just had my birthday this past week, and I was thinking back, and it's been 10 years since I became a freshman in college, and it occurred to me that I'm exactly who I wanted to be when I was 18 years old. And that is very special to me. I love the work that I do. But I'm most dedicated to my work because at one point, I was not LGBTQ affirming. I was not committed to reproductive justice or protecting public education or feeding the poor. No, I was raised as a white Christian nationalist, a supremacist, really. I was the third generation in the Independent Fundamentalist Baptist, or IFB, church movement, a high control group that some have referred to in media as a cult. I was indoctrinated into this high control group quite thoroughly. I was homeschooled and taught to believe that scientists were in a conspiracy to suppress the truth of, quote unquote, God's word, the Bible, and to control the government. I was taught that climate change was fake, that the earth is only 6,000 years old, and I learned that those of other faiths, but especially Muslims, were inherently my enemy. One of the most important universities in the IFB network, Bob Jones University of Greenville, South Carolina, which you may have heard of, continued to enforce segregation into the 21st century and had buildings named after members of the KKK who provided some of the money to create that university. It was a subject of debate in my church about whether women should even be allowed to vote. At one summer camp, I even heard a minister declare that LGBTQ people should not just be criminalized, but exterminated. I was also groomed to be a leader in IFB. Both of my grandfathers were converts to the movement and some significant preachers in the movement, and it was expected that I would be as well when at a young age people noticed that I liked to talk. By the time I entered college, I had connections at the Heritage Foundation, which you might know as the authors of Project 2025, and I had even had segments on Fox News, TV, and radio. I had been a page for the North Carolina Senate with Republican Senator Tom Goolsbee, and was exposed to neo-Confederate views, which I quite enthusiastically repeated myself. I had an evangelism tour and preached on the radio a couple times as well. Now you might ask, and I think it's very appropriate that Ari this morning is looking at transformation, how did I transfigure from that image of a white Christian nationalist young adult to a proud employee of the Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry of North Carolina? I think there is, however, a far more important question to ask when you hear my story and what I'm going to tell you about it. How many of you know someone who would probably qualify as a Christian nationalist? Yeah, we know them, and even if we don't know them by name, y'all live in Hillsborough. They're around you. They might be a coworker, a neighbor, someone checking you out at the grocery store, somebody helping fix your car. So when you ask, how did Kaleb change from being a white Christian nationalist to being a person of progressive faith, what I also want you to really be asking is, how can someone in my life transform from a Christian nationalist into someone of progressive faith? Because the reality is that we have turned, I'm afraid, Christian nationalists into one-dimensional enemies, like orcs in Lord of the Rings. Idiots that we can dismiss, or fascists that we can dismiss or hate inherently. But like anyone else, even Christian nationalists are complex human beings with their own stories and experiences, especially of great suffering and abuse at the hands of the very controlling culture that they belong to. For instance, while I was espousing the belief that homosexuality should be illegal, I secretly knew as a teenager that I was bisexual, and I was deeply ashamed. While I told one of my friends that she should give up her dream of being a doctor and just be a mother and wife because her place was in the home, quote unquote, I was struggling under the weight of my mentor's hyper-masculine violence that left me bruised and sobbing because I didn't fit the mold of what my gender roles were supposed to be. The reality is that many, many Christian nationalists aren't true believers in the system that they're caught up in. They're orbiters. There are certain true believers, definitely, especially those who benefit greatly, the rich and the powerful, and the male and the straight, etc. But around them, the further you get out from that group, the more likely someone is to secretly harbor doubts, sometimes for decades at a time, because they have suffered the abuses of this movement. And in quiet, vulnerable moments, it can lead them to ask if being miserable and afraid is the only life that they can have. And in these vulnerable moments, it can be your role, and it can be my role, to help them see a better way to live. This is what happened to me. In my most vulnerable moment, people came into my life and they did two things. They provided me new options, and they provided me with examples of how to live freely. See, extremism thrives on two primary things: fear and limitation. Far-right Christianity tells its followers that everyone is their enemy. Everyone is out to get them. Don't try to branch out, don't try new things, don't explore, because it will only bring you pain. How can someone be expected to leave an authoritarian Christian church when the only narrative they've ever heard is that it's a dangerous business going out your front door? When every song, book, party, or new acquaintance is a possible source of alleged demonic influence. Combined with this fear is an inherent limiting of options. When a Christian nationalist sect believes the outside world is inherently scary and dangerous, it closes ranks, it closes the doors and turns inward. When I left my Christian nationalist world, this meant that I left almost everyone behind. My family, friends, mentors, education opportunities, employment opportunities, scholarship opportunities, everything as I turned into an adult revolved around my church. I knew so little about how to be a person outside of this church, and I had to give up everything and start again. But I didn't know how to find a job, or apply for college, or make friends, or be part of a community, or have a romantic relationship, because I had never been taught, and that is the point, that it is too scary to go out on your own, and you do not have the tools to do it. But I did leave. At the cusp of adulthood, I pulled myself out of white Christian nationalism and began to extricate myself from its network. This was in part because I decided to think for myself, reading through my Bible and highlighting the hundreds of contradictions I found, and taking community college courses on geology and learning that, in fact, the Earth was not 6,000 years old and evolution is a fact. But this was not enough. It was enough for me to stop believing, but it was not enough to make me leave. I've met plenty of Christian nationalist members who confide in me that they really don't believe what their church teaches. Not really. But they are too afraid to leave, and there are no other options towards them, especially if they're women, especially if they're teenagers, especially if they've never had a job that doesn't revolve around church members who are their employers. What eventually got me to leave was the relationships I made with others outside my cult. I met atheists, Muslims, transgender and gay peers, Unitarian Universalists, and progressive Christians who were oh so very kind to me. They asked me good questions. They invited me to get brunch. They studied with me for a statistics exam that I seemed to never be able to get anything more than a C on, no matter how hard I tried. And they complimented me so much on every little bit that I was trying. Community college professors gave me advice on how to apply for four-year schools outside of the IFB sect, while also giving me some ways that I could sabotage my applications to IFB schools to ensure I would not be going there. They asked me good questions and started fostering my curiosity. They let me say stupid and sometimes even bigoted things and make mistakes, gently leading me and correcting me to a more open-minded perspective without embarrassing or hurting me. And as these relationships took shape, I began to realize something. My church taught me that believers, quote unquote, were the happy ones because we had the truth, and everyone else in the world was miserable. But what I discovered was precisely the opposite. When I looked out and made new friends and connections, everyone was so happy with who they were, and it was I who was miserable. I was taught that everyone was out to get me, but they were unbelievably kind. Their very existence was an invitation to a new way of being, a way of being alive rooted in love and freedom instead of hate and shame. Just by living your lives freely, Your lived testimony can provide new options for someone who needs to see them. It can help people who have spent their lives in a rigid, fearful mentality imagine a new way of being. They cannot learn that their former way of life was harmful alone. They need to know that there is a new way of life that is both meaningful and beautiful and free. This way of life is particularly powerful when it's in a community setting, as it is in the case with our UU tradition. When I left Christian nationalism, I was lucky to be welcomed in by St. Paul's Episcopal Church in Lakewood, Colorado, primarily because it was the only progressive congregation within walking distance of my university. And they were so loving to invite in this awkward young adult to game nights and choir practices and free food and hiring me for yard work and leaving their office doors open for me to come in and ask whatever new weird question was on my mind for the week. Coming out of an extremist religious group can often mean leaving everyone and everything you've ever known behind. Offering your own community the source of your values can be a godsend for someone leaving Christian nationalism. It can be a place for them to fall into, be nourished by, and cared for as they deprogram themselves and explore, who am I if I am not a member of this group? But all of this for us, for those who are not Christian nationalists and have a progressive faith, this means making relationships with people who are, I admit, very, very frustrating to be around. Though not harmful, I would never suggest maintaining relationships with those who seek you harm. And many people I've had to cut off because they weren't just annoying, but they sought to harm me. But it may mean that we need to allow ourselves discomfort in conversations so that we can be a beacon of light to people who need it. If it's safe when our MAGA cousin starts getting on our nerves, can we respond with curiosity, getting to know them and what's really the cause of their beliefs, which is perhaps a past trauma or current fear that we can respond with love? If it's safe when a street evangelist approaches us with a gospel tract warning about hell, are we willing to take 5 minutes to both listen to them, then share our own story as an equal exchange? If it's safe when an old college buddy posts something derisive about wokeness, are we willing to ask them questions about their beliefs in their direct messages or a phone call or a coffee meetup instead of using insults in 4-letter words in the comment section? These are the simple human interactions that can help us build a way forward and help them find a way out. To look into the eyes of someone that we might want to see as a one-dimensional character, because that is easy, or a simpleton, or a brainwashed cult member, to look into their eyes and see a human who is not that different from ourselves aside from circumstance. Who we could even look in their eyes and say, if my life had gone differently, if community college professors hadn't been kind to me, if I hadn't been allowed to go to these schools, if I hadn't read certain books, I could still be a part of that cult. And so I have to look into their eyes and say, you deserve dignity and love, and I intend to model that towards you. I intend to have the grace that was shown to me towards you. And at the right time, with the right person, harboring the right doubts, this simple act can set someone free. It set me free. This is the work that I am dedicated to now because I have a debt to pay. People did this for me. They let me be annoying, frustrating, even at times offensive, and they still loved me anyway. Some of them saw the cracks in my facade early on, but many did not and simply made the choice to be kind to me, modeling a life that eventually I decided to choose for myself. It would be the height of hypocrisy for me to look at those who I once was and say, you are not worth my time, you are not worth my patience, you are not worth my love, By an accident of circumstance, I am no longer like you, yet now I want you to be treated as less than me. I simply cannot do that. Instead, I am trying to be a living example of outreach, a patient and constant pulsing of love and courage that can change a life. I'm telling you from experience, this can work. It worked on me, but it also worked on so many of my friends who over the past decade, they know who to call. They know who to call when they realize that they're gay. They know who to call when they finally read John and compare it with Mark and realize there's some problems there. They know who to call when they see Donald Trump say something horrific and decide this is too much even for me. You can be a living example of this as well, and I ask you to pass it on as well. Extremism thrives on fear and limitation. We will not get out of this darkness in which we now live by fueling it with more fear and limitation, but by countering it with courage, love, and open-mindedness. Each and every one of us as Unitarian Universalists can be a part of that effort. There can be joy in the morning. There can be change. There can be transformation. And your story, your radiation of values, can be the source of it. Because at the end of the day, justice work, liberation work is not about victory. It's not about getting one over on somebody else or the other side. Liberation requires all of us. It does not happen when we look down on our enemies and say, we win, you lose. It happens when we offer even our enemies a hand and say, a better world is possible. Won't you join me in building it together? Or to paraphrase what Rumi said today, beyond the land of the right, the land of the wrong, there's a field waiting for us. All these notions of you, these notions of me, can we finally agree don't have to mean a thing? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kaleb. That was really powerful. And don't forget that we're going to have Q&A with Kaleb after the service. Now, each Sunday after our sermon, we take up a monetary offering to support various worthy causes. For the month of July, 100% of our plate offering will go to the Eno River Association. The Eno River Association has worked to conserve and protect natural, historical, and cultural resources of the Eno River Basin in Durham and Orange counties since 1966.
And every single one is now closed because of the flood. Every entrance.
Yes. Please donate by placing cash or checks in the offering basket, and if by check, please write plate in the memo line. Or you can go to our website, uuchnc.org, and click on the donate button. Or you can use the QR code printed in your order of service. Thank you for your generosity. Beautiful, Viva. Thank you so much. Please join me in offering a blessing for the offertory. The words are printed in your order of service. For the love that surrounds us every morning, for the friends beside us, and for the generous gifts just received, let us be truly grateful. Now please stand in body or spirit as we sing our closing hymn, One More Step, number 168 in your gray hymnal. Our closing words are Departure by Robin F. Gray. As we prepare to depart, we give voice to these hopes. May we know ourselves bound in community even while we are apart. May a passion for justice burn in our lives. May we carry the light of compassion in our hearts and in our every interaction. May we be whole in our devotion to truth and always carry the lamp of peace before us. Now please join me as we extinguish our sacred UU flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of a commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace, my friends, and blessed be.
Praise God.